what you guys are doing is so different than all the other coaching out there. And trust me, I know. I grew up going to chiropractic coaching seminars since I could walk and talk. I have seen all the coaching that there is out there. Other doctors have said, why are you running ads? Just keep going to the community events. Ads are bullshit. You're going to burn your money up. Don't do it. And you guys were like, let's run some fucking ads. We went from 18,000 in December to $49,000 at the end of March.
Whoop, whoop.
It was huge.
Yeah, you've crushed it.
But it was that shedding phase, and it was going through the hard, ugly shit to get to where you wanted to be and really having a practice that was in full alignment with me and what I wanted.
If you stay in alignment, you're going to go to the fucking moon. Dr. Corrin, I am so excited to have you on the Expanded Life podcast. Thank you for coming in.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so fired up to be here today.
You are literally the first guest that we have ever had on this podcast. And I think that nobody else deserves the first spot because just knowing you as a human has been such a fun thing for both Kyle and myself. And he's a little bit jealous that he can't be here today. And honestly, the growth and just the the spaceship that you're on right now has been absolutely incredible to witness. And so I'm just really excited to tell your story today.
I'm excited to share my story, and it has been so many twists and turns, and you and Kyle have been such a big proponent of that story. So I'm just fired up to be here.
Well, let's fucking get into it then.
Let's do it.
Okay, so take me back to the beginning. For anybody who doesn't know you, you come from a chiropractic family. In fact, both of your parents are chiropractors. So I would love to just hear kind of in your words what your origin story is and how it ultimately led you to starting your own practice a couple years ago.
I always say chiropractic, it's not what I do, it's who I am. And that started the day I was born. My parents had me at Life University when they were students.
On campus.
On campus. The first year of my life was spent going to classes with them. In fact, a lot of the professors and teachers I had at school were teachers that I spent the first year of my life in their classes.
Wild.
And I don't know very many people that can say that.
No, yeah.
So I grew up in the world of chiropractic, no drugs, no surgeries, no medicine, all natural, organic, pasture raised before there even was pasture raised, and soy milk when, we didn't drink cow's milk or any of that bullshit growing up. It was all natural and all chiropractic, and that's the world that I come from. So it's always what I wanted to do and what I was destined to be. And I was very excited to get started with my own practice, and here we are.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. You came up in that world. You said you were destined to be a chiropractor. Did you always know? Was there ever an option to be anything else?
Oh, there was always options. My parents were so supportive. I tried everything. I actually really considered going to law school, and I worked for a lawyer. And I wanted to make sure that I was 100% confident that chiropractic was for me before I stepped foot on Life University's campus as a grad student. And I knew. I've always known. So I've always known it was my path and that it was for me. It's just such an integral, foundational part of who I am as a person.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's good that you tried something else, right? I feel like for so many of us, it's like we feel called to something and we go into it, but then there's always that question in the back of your mind, like, it's like when you marry the first person you ever date. Not that that was my experience, but you always got to wonder, like, was there somebody else out there that was better? And maybe people who had that experience are like, no, Danielle, you're crazy. Nobody ever has that thought. But that would probably run through my mind. So what did life look like for you growing up in a house where both of your parents were chiropractors and owned their own practice in the early days?
I never went to a medical doctor. The first time I went to a medical doctor, it was my choice when I was 18. And before then, I had never been inside a medical office in my entire life.
So cool.
I was born at home with midwives, home births. My whole family was. If you're sick, you get adjusted to boost your immune system. You take your vitamins that you take every day regardless. You drink some water and you get some sleep and you sleep it off, whether it's a day or 5 days. Your body has the power to heal itself. It's self-healing, self-maintaining, self-evolving organism. So you're designed to heal. You don't need that extra medical intervention. You just need your power turned on and you need to keep getting adjusted. And that's the world that I lived in and grew up in and I'm still love to be a part of.
Girl, that's fucking awesome. I'm jealous because I grew up in a very allopathic household and everything has had to be unlearned. and then relearned, and then going and marrying somebody who also came up in that. It's like I had to do some unlearning with him and then, relearning. And I think it's just so incredible and such a cool starting point to have been raised with that foundation because I mean, the momentum you have going into your career, it's like you didn't have to break down any of those limiting beliefs, you
Yeah.
know? So, talk to me about the business side because I know, this is a business podcast and you were raised in a house with entrepreneurs. What was that experience like?
Mm. Growing up, my parents were always hustling. They were building their $1 million practice in the early 2000s before there were ads, before there was social media marketing in a small town. So my Saturdays and Sundays I would spend with my dad going to farmers markets and doing spinal screenings and being out in the community. There was always that hustle and drive. Whatever we were doing, they were talking about chiropractic and helping build their practice. And they had multiple offices. They've had many practices and they had a great successful practice in our town in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, where I was born and raised. And it was I grew up in that world and saw the grit that it took to be able to make it what it was. It was Harris Family Chiropractic, and it was incredible to be able to be a part of that and see that and feel that as a child, and then understand how to transcend that in my own life now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could definitely imagine that. So, watching your parents grind and hustle and build something really successful and big, did you know going into chiropractic that entrepreneurship was going to be your future as well? Because I know you started off as an associate.
Oh, yeah.
So, was there ever a time where you considered, continuing to work for other people, or has this always been the plan?
I took my parents' advice when I got out of school, and they said, you need to work for someone else for at least 2 years. You need to get your hands on patients. You need to get your hands wet. You need to build your skill set. You need to learn about patient care, how to talk to patients, how to relay what we do to them. And you really need to still keep your head down and work solid for another 2 years, learn everything you can. And that's what I did. I did it for actually a little under a year. And I realized it was just my time and I
Yeah.
wasn't going to wait anymore and I was going to fucking go for it
Yeah.
and full send it. And that's what I did. But I think that initial experience under another doctor, learning the ropes in the system, helps you exponentially throughout your career as a chiropractor and a business owner.
1000%. I worked as an associate for about 5 months. I am not a good employee. Don't hire me ever if I change my mind and try to get out of business. So, like being an employee was really hard, but I also feel and understand what you're saying. Working for someone else, seeing their system, seeing what worked and what didn't work for me was such a valuable experience and helped carry me into entrepreneurship with kind of that momentum that we talked about earlier. So, did you know when you went from that associateship in less than 2 years, even though, mom and dad said 2 years, did you know that it was time because there was a certain like dollar amount in the bank? For anyone listening who maybe is an associate now and looking to start their own thing in the future, like what was the jumping off point? How were you so certain?
I was so tired of the burnout and the bullshit of being an associate and being in a high volume practice, not being in alignment myself, not getting my own personal needs met financially, not having the time or the energy to take care of me and having to continue to pour into a practice. Felt like I learned everything I needed to, and I needed to do this for myself and create a better standard of care for my patients because I feel like that is severely lacking on the West Coast, especially in California. People do things very differently here. We have a different style of chiropractic in California compared to the East Coast where I'm from. And I was tired of working in offices that didn't align with me. So I was like, fuck it, full send it. I'm going to do it.
I love that. And I definitely had the same experience. And I know we started off pretty similarly. It was like, I'm going to put a table in a room. Like, if anybody doesn't know my story, it's actually out in the office. You should go see it. It's basically falling apart, but a portable table. We had 100 square foot room with a window that looked into like the middle of the building. It didn't actually look outside. So it was still super dark. It was like gray Seattle, like filtered light coming in. 100 square feet, me and the table. And that's where I started. And I know that you come from similar roots. So what did your journey into that first kind of chapter look like?
Yeah. Coming from being a clinical director of a franchised office, I saw a lot of what I did like. I liked a lot of the systems. I liked some of the models that they had. However, I didn't love the insane overhead. I don't think that you need to spend four to $500,000 building out your office before you have a single patient.
Right.
You already went $300,000+ into debt to get here. You don't have a single patient, and we're not dentists. We don't need all this equipment. We're not dermatologists. You need a room, you need your hands, an EHR system, and a table.
Yep.
That costs what? Maybe $500. You can buy a used table on Facebook Marketplace.
Yep.
So my goals were stay as lean as long as possible. It's what my parents told me and preached to me. You don't need all the fancy equipment, even though you're going to compare yourselves to other people that have it
Right.
or other doctors that get out of school and take out big loans or parents help them start up. And I
Right.
was like, it's not necessary and I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So that's how I started.
I love it. So you rented a space in somebody else's office.
I did.
And then how
Yep.
long were you there before you went and built out the space that you have now?
I was an independent contractor in another doctor's office, just starting to get my patients. And I spent 90% of my time out in the community. I didn't need to be sitting behind the front desk waiting for patients to come in 40 hours a week when I didn't have any patients yet. I had to be out there hustling at networking events all day, every day. I think I averaged 2 to 3 a week and met with other providers and was just trying to get myself out there and get patients in the door. And then after about 9 months of doing that, it was definitely time for me to expand. I was outgrowing that space, outgrowing that energy, and I needed to elevate to continue doing what I wanted to do and get to the next level. So I was there for about 9 months and then expanded and grew.
So incredible. And that is pretty close to about the time that we met you. And so I would love for you to just kind of paint the picture about where you were at December of 2025 when Kyle and I kind of came into your world.
I had expanded probably a little too much too fast. However, for me, that's what I wanted. And I am a full send, all speed ahead kind of person. So I was doing everything that I wanted to do and I needed help. I had taken all the coaching and training that I'd learned. I'd gotten to this point. I had a great office. I did it without any loans. I say no loans, no bullshit. I didn't want any investors. I just wanted to do it solo and grow as I grew and essentially, self-funded the entire project and practice. And then I needed help and then I needed a lifeline and then I needed to get to the next level because I'd made it here on my own. And then I met you guys and I was in a tough spot. I'd officially been in practice for about a year. I was tired. I was burnt out. I was like, fuck, this is a lot. I need help. And I talked to a lot of different coaches. None of their styles really resonated with me. I think a lot of coaches are very old school and will tell you, continue doing what you're doing. Just do it harder. Just work more. And when you're at your max capacity, you can't give anymore. You've got to pivot. And that's what was so great with you guys. You were like, okay, let's run ads like this. Let's find your niche. Let's talk about how your Instagram can create an ecosystem for your patients where if you're down on new patients this week, you make these curated posts, you get patients in the door right away. So what you guys are doing is so different than all the other coaching out there. And trust me, I know. I grew up going to chiropractic coaching seminars since I could walk and talk. I have seen all the coaching that there is out there. So when I met you, I realized, okay, this is different. They're really onto something here. And I knew that you guys were going to help take me to the next level. And we definitely got there.
Yeah, I reflect back on that time. And actually, before December, you had reached out to us in your massive networking phase. And
Yeah.
we're like, hey, I'm a local chiropractor. And I was like, that's awesome. And you seem amazing, but I'm so fucking busy.
Yeah.
And we just never really crossed paths until that moment. And in meeting you, I knew that you were just this vibrant light of a human because of the interaction that we had before. And so even though we weren't really taking one-to-one clients at that time, I was like, Kyle, I think we should take on Corrin. He's like, but she's our competitor. She's close to us. I was like, not really. So we kind of just, I don't know, there was no actual reason why we said yes, but it just felt like the right thing to do. And it's been so fucking cool to get to know you and watch because I met a woman who was, you're right, burnout and just at wit's end. And I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this. And everyone keeps telling me that this is just my future. What have I done to myself?
Yeah.
What is this prison that I've created? And it's no, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I think there's almost some shame in chiropractic, especially from some of our forefathers and mothers, right? About not wanting to see patients all the time. And it's that's okay. I think we need to give ourselves and others permission to not want to always be in patient care full time because it is hard on your body. It is exhausting. And when you're wearing all of the hats like you were at that point, you got nothing left to give to anybody else in your life, let alone to yourself.
Absolutely.
And then I feel like when we met you and you decided to invest in coaching, you were like, this is going to over leverage me. This is going to be a really big challenge, but I also am so committed. And I feel like I watched in a moment, maybe in like a month, but it felt like a moment. You just decided to become the next version of
Yeah,
yourself before the evidence matched that reality. So
absolutely.
can you walk through kind of that experience of stepping into the next level before your world really showed you that it was time?
Yeah. I think, and we talk about it, stepping into the next level, it's not the action, it's the energy and the emotion and the mental process of being at that level before the time has gotten you there and before you're there in real time. And that's the only way you can get to the next level is, okay, I'm going to make this decision to do this coaching to change the trajectory of my practice and my life. I'm going to find people that align with me. I'm going to continue pouring into myself, even if it doesn't make sense right now financially or personally or any of the other reasons why you shouldn't do it. You just have to take that step and fucking do it and trust that your energy and intentions are in the right place and you will get there. There's no option to fail. You'll get to that next level, but you have to make that mental conscious decision before it happens and then it'll happen. And then you get to that next level and you're like, "Oh, that was fucking easy. Let's do that again. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing."
1000%. You're describing the be, do, have,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to be the person first to be willing to take the scary fucking actions, and then you will have the outcome that you want. But that's really hard when you're in it and
Mm,
you're facing the every day is stressful. Every day you're wondering, how am I going to get the next new patient? How am I going to pay my bills?
yeah.
So for someone listening who's like, that sounds great, but I'm also living in this really fucking scary, stressful time right now. Like,
Yeah.
what is the first step that somebody needs to take before they like take the actions of doing? Like, how do you embody that future self when there's no evidence that it's going to work?
I'd say first thing and what I did since day one before I opened my practice, you've got to take care of you and your mental health and get yourself right. Because in the beginning, you are your practice, you are your business, and you're only going to grow in business as much as you have the capacity to personally grow as a person. So if you're not doing the interpersonal work, it will show. Your collections will be limited. You won't be where you want to be. You'll be hitting dead ends, the same ceiling over and over and over. You've got to prioritize yourself and your personal growth. And then I think the next thing is you've got to cut out the noise. You've got to cut out the people that aren't on your team, that don't want to support you, that have the negative energy, whether that's a negative patient that's permeating in your practice, whether it's a negative friend that is not supporting you and not on your vibration and lowering your vibration, or even, close family and friend members. And there will be people, you will lose people every step of the journey. And that's part of the growth. And then the universe or God or however you believe in that energy in the world will reward you and put people back into your life that align with you and have that similar vibration, and even people that are more elevated than you. And then I think you have to continue investing in that. I personally spend probably about $4,000 to $5,000 a month on coaching and to continue helping get to the next level. And that's not something I'm going to stop. I'd imagine that number is going to continue to grow as the practice grows. That's a non-negotiable. You need to put those people around you, whether you're paying them for their coaching or whether you have that good energy in your life. Those three things, they're just non-negotiable.
Yeah, I love that. And I definitely can resonate with all of them from being at a similar point in practice. I don't know if you know, I hired my first like one-to-one big girl coach when I was at about, I think I was stuck between 20 and 25,000. So I was
Yeah.
hitting that ceiling of 23,000 over and over. And it's like, man, I've gotten this far. I've done everything on my own, but like, fuck, how do I get past this?
Yeah.
And it really is true. At that time in my life, I had added the practices of not just self-care, like getting a massage and getting adjusted and adjusted is like just a regular part of life, right?
Yeah.
But like not just the physical self-care, but the like the mental, emotional, visualizing, journaling, doing all this. But I had to have a season of shedding while I brought in that mentor and I brought in people around me that were a positive influence. I had to let go of a lot of folks. And I think that that is a part that most people do not like. It's uncomfortable. It sucks. And
It's
it
a
leaves you,
hard fucking season.
it can leave you really lonely,
Yeah. Oh,
And I
it's lonely.
like that word capacity, right? You cannot level up to being the next version of yourself until you increase that capacity. And if you got people and energy and stuff weighing you down and keeping you at that lower level, that lower vibration, like you talked about, there's no fucking way you're going to be able to hold all of the abundance that's to come.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to shed, you got to make room for that next version. So you've stepped into this next version. You've decided there's no way that I'm going to fail. Let's fucking go, right? Talk to me about what actually shifted from December until now that allowed you to have the massive growth that you've had.
Mm. I think I needed to realize that, one, you can't do it alone. You can. In fact, I did. And that's why I continued hitting the plateaus and the ceilings that I had. I needed people on my team. I needed mentors. I needed coaches. I needed to be able to delegate and stop micromanaging every single aspect. I need to allow my team to step into their potential and put team players in places that are best for them and what they want to do, and start creating the systems and set better expectations. I needed to be a better leader and allow my team to do what they were meant to do, and allow myself to have more energy to focus on the bigger things. And that shifted a lot of things. And I needed to make sure I was taking care of myself too, because you can't continue pouring into your patients and pouring into your office and not personally be in alignment with that. And then a big one was I totally restructured all of my care plans. I created care plans that felt more in alignment with me, that I felt comfortable with, that I felt happy with. And my conversion rate went from 30-40% to last month was 71%.
Wild. And that's with cold traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah. And when you're making those steps and it's in a better alignment with you, everything else follows. And it just, instead of it being grunt, hard work, it's just easy. It just flows. It just happens. But you've got to make some big changes. And it was a lot of pivoting for sure.
Yeah, I feel like from the very first call we had, it was like you were making not just the energetic shifts into stepping into this next level, but you were making strategic changes, operational changes, team changes, like there's so much that has shifted in your practice and your life over the last, it's not even 6 months. I keep saying 6 months, but it's 4 months.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely wild. And so can you paint a picture about where you're at now in practice and what things look like compared to where they were back in December?
Yeah. I think December we had an $18,000 month that month. And I had one team member in the practice. I had a system that was at max capacity. I liked the EHR system we used before. And we were not using scans like we do now. I had to make some big shifts and let go of a lot of pieces of my identity that I thought I was or chiropractic was, let go of those negative mindsets and say, okay, I want to do it like this. I don't want to do 36 visit plans. I want to do 24 visit plans. And then I want to convert people to wellness. And I want my practice to be what I want it to be. And I'm going to let go of all the bullshit that I thought I was supposed to be or that I thought it was supposed to be like, and really just diving into that. And then it was messy. And then we're changing every fucking system in the office.
At once.
At once. And you're like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm here.
Not
I'm
good.
alive. Not great. We have 2 different EHR portals going on right now. My team hates me because we're having to re-upload every patient onto a new software. We're integrating new systems and procedures. And January was a fucking shit show.
Mm-hmm.
But February was better. And then March, things really kicked off. And we went from $18,000 in December to $49,000 at the end of March.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. It was huge.
Yeah, you've crushed it.
But it was that shedding phase, and it was going through the hard, ugly shit to get to where you wanted to be and really having a practice that was in full alignment with me and what I wanted.
Absolutely. Yeah, January was rough for you. I feel like there were moments every week you came in, you're like, I don't know if I'm on the right track. I don't know if it's working. I don't know if this is what I should be doing. And despite that, you kept taking the next step forward. And it's just been so cool to see you come into this place where you're finding more ease, you're finding more joy, you're hustling.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not, I think, the goal forever.
Definitely.
Right. But it's like you've taken these steps in a really fast amount of time of expanding your capacity, expanding your team's capacity, optimizing your scheduling. Talk about marketing, right? Because you've had a big shift in the way that you market too since we started working together.
Yeah. In the past, from other coaches that I had previously, it was do more community events, have more engagement, see everyone. Why would you limit yourself to one niche? And that's what I thought was the right thing to do. I don't want to limit myself. Would I hone in on one group of people? That's going to close my door and not allow me to see as many people. And what we've done is really find, okay, what's my niche? It's women in their 30s to 50s that have had kids or about to have kids, that are burnt out and tired, and moms, and people that want better healthcare, people that want a female doctor to sit down with them and really hear about their complaints and their concerns, someone to give a shit. And once we honed in on that, we really honed in on scoliosis with that too. And that just opened the floodgates. And I'm seeing more people now more than ever versus before when I thought I need to see everyone and take care of everyone. But when you align yourself and go deep into those populations that you want to see, that resonates with them, that shows your authenticity, and then people come out of the woodworks, and it's been the best thing ever for numbers, for the amount of new patients we're getting in the practice, for collections, for creating a practice that me and my team love being a part of. Every single patient I see on the schedule, I know them. I love them. They're amazing. I'm so happy to have them in the office, all because we decided to say we're not going to see every single person. We're going to find our people and we're going to find our niche. Now we're seeing more than ever.
So fucking good. I firmly believe that burnout does not happen from effort.
Mm,
I know that burnout happens from effort plus misalignment.
yeah.
Right? Like if we are trying to make space for everyone in the practice, and I did this too, I think it's a really normal thing for people to do coming out of school because there's inherently this little bit of scarcity that follows us, or a lot of
Yeah.
bit of scarcity, right? It's like, I'm new, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm going to just try to swing my stick and figure it out. And you bring these people in and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll work on, your degeneration and yeah, I'll work on that, shoulder issue that you have from that sport that I don't care about. And oh yeah, I'll work on your plantar fasciitis. And it's like, I don't want to fucking do this,
Yeah.
and then you end up at this place where you have a busy practice and like, thank God for that. But like, you look around and you're not happy and you dread going to work. And it's like, what's the point of making money if you're miserable while you're doing it? And then you experience that burnout. And so I'm so grateful that you trusted us to do that and have leaned into it because I think that that fulfillment, that joy that comes with the high workload, because you're seeing more patients than ever.
Yeah.
It's not like your visits have gone down,
No.
right? Like you're busier than you've ever been,
Yeah.
but that joy and that alignment is allowing you to not feel the same level or type of burnout that you were
Yeah.
experiencing
And I
before.
had to work through that mental block where other doctors have said, "Why are you running ads? Just keep going to the community events. Ads are bullshit. You're going to burn your money up. Don't do it." And you guys were like, "Let's run some fucking ads." And I'm like, "I don't know. I think I had that limiting belief that I
Totally.
needed to let go of." And when I started working with you, I was like, "You know what? Whatever you say, okay. Let's do it. Let's do all of it." And the ads were such a game changer. If I could talk to myself a year ago or doctors that were in the same position as me, it's run ads sooner. Find your niche, find your audience, find your people, figure out what fills your cup up, like you said, so you don't come into the office hating the types of modalities you're doing and not wanting to work with those types of people because that just sucks your energy all day, every day. You've got to start with finding that alignment for you and your practice.
1000%. And I think it's really interesting to note, and I think anybody listening to this, if you're thinking about niching down, what I do not want you to do is think, what can make me the most money?
Yeah.
Right? Because money matters and you will make money if you're in alignment and you're working hard. But like, who do I love serving? And we asked you that question. It's like, first of all, who do you love? Who
Yep.
do you want to hang out with every single day in your practice? And who do you get really good results for?
Yep.
Those were the two questions you answered that led you to this place here. And I think once you've answered those two questions and you're really clear on that, then you can start running advertising because you know you're messaging to them.
Yep.
Right? And that's why your ads have worked so well, is because you know exactly who she is. You know exactly what her problems are. You know exactly what her dream outcome is. And so when you can speak to those things in your advertising and your organic social media, those people are going to feel so seen that they have no choice but to go to you over anyone else.
Yes.
Right? Because even if she's not considering a chiropractor, she sees your ad and she's like, holy shit, you know me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do want to feel that way. And then it becomes that ecosystem like we talked about. And I think another thing for people to note that are listening is you can't just run ads and do nothing else.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
you did build community and credibility. You did have a great social media that showed the world what your office looked like, how fun it was to be there, the people in there that looked and felt like them,
Yep.
And then when we started running ads, it was like you had this beautiful website, you had this great personality, and you had this social media that was so descriptive of the experience that they were able to come back to all of that and say, "Yep, definitely."
Yep.
And it confirms that choice for them. And so you just have had this magical recipe of all the things kind of working together. And I think that you are just one of the unicorns out there that like nothing that you touch isn't going to work. You know what I mean? As
There's
long as
not an option to fail.
if you stay in alignment, you're going to go to the fucking moon. So now let's talk about that. What does the next kind of
Mm.
chapter or a few chapters look like for you?
The next chapter for me is helping people that were in the same position I was, that were burnt out in practice, that were tired of being the associate and taking the brunt of everything, that were not in alignment with themselves personally, weren't in alignment with the practice, with their care plans, with the people they were serving, and are wanting to just take that next step and full send it for themselves. Where do they start? How do you start a business? I get asked that all the time. What's a care plan? How do I do a new patient day one that resonates with me? How do I get people in the door? What's a referral networking partner? What does that look like? How do you do those things? How do you get started? And hopefully to help people avoid some of the huge, expensive, costly mistakes that I made and help them navigate through their first year in practice from 0 to 50K. Let's help you get there. That's what's next. So I'll be launching my coaching in July to work with people that were exactly where I was and help them navigate the pitfalls and the successes and all of the adventure of starting a business and being a practice owner.
I love it. Dr. Corinne just did the first step of manifestation. She declared it.
Mhm.
The vision is set, the
Yep.
date is set. You heard it here first. What is in the future for your practice as you navigate into that next chapter of coaching?
Absolutely bringing on another doctor who resonates with what we do and who feels fulfilled in the style of practice that we have, working with mainly women. And we have shorter weeks during the week. We really value community and the time that we have. We have yoga events once a month on Saturdays. We do a lot of cool stuff in the office. So finding that person that wants to be a part of our community and what we're building and what the House of Chiropractic legacy is in Southern California, finding that person and bringing them on and expanding our tribe and our team is what's next, without a doubt.
And I heard you're going to hit $1 million that run rate by this summer.
That's what's happening. Yeah.
All right, let's fucking
85
go.
a month by 8.5, right?
Let's go. It's my
Yeah.
favorite mantra ever. All right, Dr. Corinne, I cannot fucking wait to watch like month after month because I know your growth is just going to continue to be exponential. And I am honored to be in your presence and to be trusted by you. And I'm happy to be along for the journey. So let's fucking get it. And we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you then. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.